Okay, so if you're following along, you should be at this point here where you had just a single light flashing. And now what I want to do is I actually want to build an entire array of LED lights. And we're going to use that for a couple of these modules to learn various coding techniques like loops, and probably even play with a little bit of analog to digital conversion and make a light meter or a dark meter, depending on how it works out. But to do that, we have to kind of rearrange things a little bit, or it would be best to rearrange things a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pull the power, and I'm going to pull this wire here and the resistor. I'm going to pull a lot of this out. Alright, I'm going to leave this connected because we're going to build on this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the two buses. I want this bus connected to this bus. So I'm going to run a black wire from here to there. Okay, so now this bus is now connected to this bus by this wire here. And I guess for completeness, I'll go ahead and do that with the positive, although we're not going to use that right away. But now we've got a complete circuit where we have the positive and the negative connected on both sides. Again, on this particular breadboard, it does not go over here because we do have this gap. Okay, so now all of this has positive and negative buses available, all linked together to the board. And ultimately what we want to build, and I'm going to show you on Tinkercad real quick, is we want to build an array of LEDs and resistors that resemble this. Okay, and you know, it's all going to be lined up. Notice carefully here that the way this is connected, the cathode side, the ground side of each of these LEDs does in fact go into this common ground bus. Okay, and in my case I've got them separated by 2 holes. That's only because I couldn't draw it any differently, but you can put them spaced by only 1. I'm actually going to build it exactly like this on mine, and then I'm going to link it together from pins 2 to pins 9. So I'm going to do that now. Alright, and I'll get started with it, and then I'm actually going to pause this and just have it build. So I'm going to start right here. Notice, okay, I've got mine bent, so this is the ground, this is the positive. I'm going to put the ground into the ground bus, like so. And then ultimately I'm going to hook a resistor up so it crosses the IC gap, like so. And I'm going to repeat this process on down. So let me pause it while I build this, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've built my whole circuit here. You can see I have 8 1K resistors, and I'm sorry if I didn't mention that before. I'm using the same resistor I had, so it's a 1K resistor. 8 1K resistors, all hooked into 8 LEDs. I chose this particular sequence. We're going to probably, you can make it whatever you want. It doesn't have to be exactly this way, but I played with it this way because I'm going to make a scale that goes from green to red as we work up. And then I've got it wired from pins 2 to pins 9. Okay, and so all of these are connected into the bus, which is connected to the resistor. The resistor goes over the IC gap. It goes into the same pin that the positive side of the diode is connected, the light emitting diode is connected into, which then ultimately connects into ground. So we can see it here. Once again, my signal wire goes to the same bus as the resistor, which then jumps the IC gap, which then goes into the anode of the LED, which works its way into ground. So if we play here for a moment, which we'll do just for a little bit here, if we open it up, of course it always gives us this default piece of code, and we can just test it real quick. I'm just going to change this to pin 2, like so. Pin 2, and I'll make this pin 2 and this pin 2, and if I start the simulation, we should see that pin 2 will begin to flash, which you can see here. There we go. It took a moment for it to load, but now it is flashing. And I'm sorry if the frame rate looks a little bit funny, but mine is flashing at an interval of about once per second. So I can now stop this, and we can copy and paste this. Well, actually we can copy and paste this first, right? So I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to do 2 That would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Change those all real quick. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I can do the same thing here. We're going to do this. We're going to find a better way to do this, but this is a good place to start. Give myself a space. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Come back up and change these all. Clean up my code a little bit. This is 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8. And oops, I actually did one too many. So we'll get rid of that. Clean it up. And if we start the simulation, it should flash in sequence. Okay? And then we can test it in the real world. So give it a moment here to start loading. And you can see that it starts flashing in sequence. And this is not real exciting to watch. But let's go ahead and copy all of this. Control A, Control C. And I am going to now this load in the real world. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new sketch. I'll close that blank one. And Control A, Control V. And now I've placed all this code into the Arduino, and I can save as, and throw it in my folder here. And I'll call this 8 LEDs. And once again, I'm going to pause it while it uploads because my first upload is always painfully slow. Okay, so you can see it's uploaded successfully and it's slowly but surely flashing up the sequence. I'm going to encourage you all to not use 1 second delays. I'm only doing that because of the camera frame rate. I would make it go much faster. It'll be a lot more fun. And we should actually add some comments and some header information. I'll do that off screen, and the next time I see you, we'll try to work on making this a little bit more efficient and some cooler designs. So I will see you again soon.